Joining us now, Louisiana Republican Congressman Mike Johnson, a member of the House Judiciary Committee. He is also a constitutional law attorney. Democrats have said these discussions involving the president were disturbing. Do you see it that way?
Not at all. What we've seen and what's developed here is that it doesn't matter what this president does, John. His critics in the liberal media and some of the liberals here in Congress are going to try to spin it into some sort of grand conspiracy. I mean, look at the facts here. Look at what's been reported. They're taking a casual conversation that the president had with a former aide where he asked him if he was treated nicely, and they're trying to imply that this was some sort of obstruction of justice. There's nothing unlawful or really remarkable about this casual conversation, and I think this is much ado about nothing.
Well, much of this was reported yesterday in the New York Times. All of the information comes from unnamed sources. Now, Fox has confirmed that the conversations did take place. But if you're the president and you're talking with your attorney and you're talking with your chief of staff, I mean, that kind of happens in the course of daily business, does it not?
It does, and even those sources, they say in a footnote in some of those stories from yesterday that it was an exchange of pleasantries. It wasn't anything really uncommon or atypical at all. This is what a president would do when he meets with staff or former staffers, and they're trying to make a mountain out of something that's not even a molehill. The real problem here, John, and this is the real issue, is that this investigation is not being allowed to play out as it is designed to be. These investigations are not supposed to be played out in the media on a daily basis as they are. The problem here is that it is obscuring the real facts. We want to follow the facts. We've all said that from the very beginning. This investigation needs to run its course, hopefully in short order, and wrap this thing up so that the American people can move on. That's what needs to happen here, and that's what we all need to be advancing.
But isn't it the case that, if you're involved in an investigation that could lead to your office, aren't you supposed to avoid talking to potential witnesses or witnesses in that case?
Look, as attorneys, we're always concerned about an allegation of witness tampering. That's something that you have to be cautious about. But when you're the president of the United States, you have to have daily interactions with your staff. You're going to be talking to people who have been brought in under the investigation to speak. He asked Priebus, it's been reported, if he was treated nicely. They didn't go into the substance, all the sources say. They didn't go into the details about what investigators asked him. All that's perfectly appropriate and common. It's an exchange of pleasantries. It's not obstruction of justice. And I think some of the liberal critics here are trying to make much more out of this than it actually is.
And it's also flat out not illegal for someone who is, the topic of an investigation to find out what witnesses have said, right?
Illegal. You're right. It's a great point. That's not against the law, but that's not even what the president did. According to all the sources, and even the New York Times and everyone else, he didn't even come close to the legal line here. So, again, they're beating a drum over really nothing. Look, I'm on the Judiciary Committee. We've seen all the evidence. All of us have seen this play out over the last year. I haven't seen a scintilla of evidence of collusion with Russia, and I don't think it's going to be there. There's no smoking gun. Let's move on. Save the American taxpayers more money, more hassle. I think the people are tired of this, and it just looks like a charade here in Congress. It's time to wrap it up.
So not only have you not seen any fire, you haven't even smelled any smoke.
No, we haven't. And you would think if there was some there that we would see it by now. I think the patience of the American people is wearing thin with all this.
Mike Johnson is a Louisiana Republican and a member of the Judiciary Committee. Congressman, thank you.
Thanks, John.